Hello guys, welcome back to another one on Chubdi Football TV. I want to talk about Jack Grealish. Let's talk about Jack Grealish and let's have an honest conversation. I want to have the same energy we have for other players when they flop. When you buy them for a lot of money and they flop in other teams. I want to have that same honesty and transparency. Let's have that discussion for Jack Grealish. For those of you living under a rock, I'm sure you would have seen the news about Jack Grealish moving from Manchester City to Everton on loan with a £50 million clause for them to retain him at the end of the season if they want to retain him. Well, we'll see how that works out. If Everton can cough out 50 million for a Jack Grealish, we'll see how that goes. But I want to have this honest conversation because there have been other players that have been bought for a lot of money and have not been the best, have flopped or have performed subparly, and us as football lovers, we've eaten them alive, But when it comes to Jack Grealish, he's one player that there was a very high ceiling for Jack Grealish, especially when he was in Aston Villa. He was the linchpin of that team. He was, fantastic. His name was ringing bells in the Championship, and when he came to the Premier League, the hairstyle, he just had the whole aesthetics. The whole aesthetic, he had a very peculiar aesthetic, the slick hairstyle, the little shin pad, and the old boots. He had that, I don't know how to describe it, but that unique aesthetic. Plus, he was the captain of Aston Villa at the time. Then he made that big move to Manchester City. I think it was for 100 million. Let me see, so that I'm not just talking. Let me see. I think it was for about 100 million at the time. Yes. So he was signed by Manchester City from Aston Villa for 100 million. And I remember at the time people were like, yes, Jack Grealish he's an incredible player with a lot of promise, but was he worth 100? A lot of people knew he wasn't worth 100 million. He wasn't worth 100 million, but English tax, English players, even subpar ones, seem to always go for a lot of money. However, he went to an already established team in Manchester City. He did his best, right? He did his best. However, he did not make all since his period in his whole period in Manchester City. He did not stake his claim, if you know what I mean. He wasn't a player really that if he wasn't playing or if he was out for a whole season, Manchester City will, it will stifle their growth, or they were not going to win matches. Manchester City were going to do what they were going to do with or without Jack Grealish. Even you can see towards, for a long period of time, Jeremy Doku had literally snatched that left wing position from Jack Grealish. He was benching Jack Grealish a lot. And compared to when you see other players like for Liverpool, like Darwin Núñez, that came from Benfica, and obviously has been sold now to Al Hilal, somewhere in Saudi. Everybody, he was horrible in Liverpool. Was a horrible striker. I'm not even going to lie. Compared to what he was doing in Benfica, the amount of goals he was missing and all those he wasn't who he was or who we expected him to be at Liverpool. And I'm talking about Darwin Núñez. One thing I saw was that a lot of people tore him to shreds. a lot of football fans tore him to shreds. But we, amongst other players, right? But we, for some reason, when you are talking about flops, a lot of people forget Jack Grealish. And I think that is because Manchester City have been a dominant team, very dominant team for years. Even in their worst season in a long time, which was last year, they still ended up third. They still ended up third. They still ended up going significantly far. I think it was the quarterfinals in the Champions League. They still made it to the finals of the FA Cup. So even in this so-called bad season for Manchester City, they still did way better than a lot of clubs. Jack Grealish he's been hiding under the greatness of Manchester City, under the greatness of Erling Haaland, under the greatness of Pep Guardiola. And it's crazy that when a player like Jack Grealish, when a player like Jack Grealish doesn't do well, it's not really spoken about. But when a player like maybe Erling Haaland has a stinker, everybody tries to rip him to shreds. He's not good technically. He can only score if Kevin De Bruyne isn't there. He can't perform. You know, there's always an agenda. You know how football fans are. But let me read out Jack Grealish. Let me read out his stats in the Premier League and the Champions League alone. I'm not even going to go to the EFL Cup and all that. I'll just read his stats in the Premier League and in the UEFA Champions League since his duration in Manchester City. So I'll start with the Premier League. So these are his stats. 2021-2022 season in the Premier League, he played 26 games. He scored 3 goals and had 3 assists. The whole the whole season in the Premier League, that is. 2022-2023 season, he played 28 games. He scored 5 goals, 7 assists. 2023-2024 season, he played 20 games, 3 assists, 2023-2024 season, he played 20 games, he scored 3 goals and had 1 assist. In 2022-2023, he played 28 games, he scored 5 goals, he had 7 assists. And just last season, 2024-2025, he played 20 games, he scored 1 goal and had 1 assist. That is for the Premier League. Now let me go to the Champions League. 2021-2022, he played 7 matches in the Champions League. He scored 1 goal, had 0 assists. 2022-2023 season, he played 13 matches in the Champions League. He scored 0 goals. He had 0 assists. 2023-2024 season, he played 8 matches in the Champions League, had 0 goals, had 2 assists. Last season, he played 6 games in the Champions League. He had 1 goal, 1 assist. Poor, horrible, horrific. And this is a player that was on high wages or is on high wages. I'm sure he's probably earning around like 200 and something. I'm sure he's earning around 200 and something at City. And he was bought 100 million. But a lot of people, when they talk about flops, they seem to forget Jack Grealish. They seem to forget that he has magnificently flopped in Manchester City. And the fact that he's going on loan, I think he's going on loan only because there's probably no team that wants to buy him, especially for that amount of 50 million. This is a player that was bought 100 million. Yes, he won trophies. He won a treble. He won some Premier Leagues. But you play for City, even if you are sitting on the bench, you are still going to win trophies. So, is that really a big deal? And I'm sure that he is gone to Everton because no other club probably wants him. You know, with his injury history, he's definitely not that 100 million player at the moment. Manchester City will be lucky to get 45 for him right now, because demand is what controls the market. If nobody is demanding for you, then your price has to drop. He's not even a constant fixture for the English team. He's not even a constant for the English team. He doesn't play often, and they don't even really include him. They would rather pick a Rashford over him. He's flopped. He's flopped. He's gone to Everton. Where did Everton end last season? Let me see the Premier League table for last season, because I know. So Everton ended up 13th last season. So he's leaving a top 3 club to go to a 13th league club. So no club in the top 10 were interested. He's flopped, and we just have to call it what it is. Hopefully he does decently well in Everton. I'm sure he's probably going to get maybe regular playing time there compared to Manchester City, because Manchester City right now are looking stacked, and it's going to be difficult, because I feel like Jeremy Doku already has that left wing position locked down. He hasn't been getting a lot of playing time, Jack Grealish. So it's good that he's making the move. Everton is a team that he would play regularly in, hopefully, and hopefully he can revive his career. I think a lot of players now are moving even to smaller teams right now, because a lot of players want to make it to the World Cup squad for next year. So clubs that players usually, big players that play for big clubs usually would have been like, hell no. Now they're like, okay, if I can play regularly in that club and do decently well, I'll probably make it to the World Cup squad, because players are trying to make it to their national team teams for the World Cup. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, that's just all I wanted to say. Let me know your opinion in the comment section. Please like, subscribe if you like the content. Let me know. Is he a flop? Do you think he's a flop, or do you think he was decent? I just read out his stats for you. It was horrible. It was horrible. But because he's playing in City, there are big characters in City like Haaland. If things don't go well, you can blame Haaland. You can blame Pep. Kevin De Bruyne has left, but you can blame Kevin De Bruyne. You can blame Rodri. Oh, he's always injured. But people neglect Jack Grealish. He was bought to be a big player for that team. They spent 100 million on him, and he has not even performed up to a 40 million pound player. Let me know in the comment section what you think, man. Until next time, peace.